Well, hello everyone. How's it going? It's been a couple of days or so, whatever. But life is good. Had some other things to take care of in life. Had to spend some time with some other people in life, right? So what's going on? I like to right, do my thing where I be at, right? So I have a word. Yes, I do. And yeah, I was just relaxing, doing some teachings and talks, and doing what I usually do, but just not right, right, on any social media sites, right, that you guys have. So, anyways, let's do this. So I have a word. It's Ephesians 4, definitely 1 through 13. Definitely 1 through 13. And I might just go all the way to 16. So, this one, I'll tell you what it's about after. I therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called. So wherever you're called to be, whatever position God chooses that you should be in, or you discuss that you want to be in with God, then that's where you are supposed to be. That's where you remain until an upgrade takes place in your life, a conversation with God. That's the upgrade that must take place before you elevate and move to another position. You can say, I want to be a nurse. Okay, God says go for it. And then you're like, I want to be a hairdresser. And then you need to talk to God, right? Because that's a total difference, a big change. And is it something you've always wanted to do? Are you going to be serious about it? Because that's a major change, and it's totally different from your other career, right? So with all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. There is one body and one Spirit, even as ye are called, in one hope of your calling. One Lord, one faith, one baptism. One God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. I used to love that part. One God and Father of all, who is above all, through all, and in you all. I'm not going to say I used to love it. I just used to love saying it, right? I love to hear it because it just lets you know that God is with everyone, in everyone, if you allow him to be, right? God didn't, well, he does discriminate, but he allows you to come back to him if you choose to put down what he discriminates against, right? If you do not, then he's not in you, right? That's just really what it is. I really hate to break hearts, but if you are whatever God calls an abomination, whether it be a liar or something else, it doesn't matter whether you're sitting in his house or not. You are not there as far as he's concerned. And that's why I talk to you the way I do, the way I try and instruct you the way I do, the way I try and push you the way I do. But God said I give people choice, so you must do so as well, little girl. So I do. Right. Verse 7. But unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Christ. Wherefore he saith, when he ascended up on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men. Now that he ascended, what is it above that he also descended first into the lower parts of the earth? He that descended is the same also that ascended up far above all heavens, that he might fill all things. And he gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and teachers, for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ, till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. So God says he chooses and trains his people. He chooses and trains his people. Yes, the ones who are supposed to listen are also equipped and trained by God, but the ones who are teaching and leading are definitely equipped and chosen by God, right? So God's children are not dumb babies who don't know nothing and who are kept from everything and only the one God chose. is the only one with all the knowledge. That's not true. God equips all of his children with knowledge and understanding. The wisdom part is with the leader. The wisdom part is where the leader can explain and break down what you know. So that's why there is a leader, because they are filled with the wisdom to break down the knowledge, to give you understanding, to help you with understanding as God's children that are not in a leadership position, that are not in a chosen by God leadership, pastoral position. So, wherefore he said, when he ascended up on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men. Now that he ascended, what is it but that he also descended first unto the lower parts of the earth? So what God is saying is he's been in every realm, taking care of everything, long before anyone. So as the saying goes, there's nothing new under the sun. It's been seen, it's been done, right? Well, that's my second part. But it's been seen and it's been done. God has seen everything. God knows everything, right? Yes, he puts little glitches in, you know, so he can have some surprises too, to have fun with the world and us as his kids. But God knows when that evil is there. He knows when that stank is around, because he's been through every realm, right? So he knows what's out there. He knows who's out there. So he says one faith, one baptism. Doesn't matter what other religions people are throwing at you. A lot of this stuff is self-made, self-taught, self-created voodooism, right? People are listening to stuff that people just threw in a book because they felt like it and fed it to others, right? And that's what makes something work and something real. When a lot of people truly believe in it, they put their heart and soul in it, that's what makes things outside of God work. That's what makes things outside of God true and real for that particular group and not no one else. That's why most Christians are like, I ain't never felt no voodoo, nothing, right? Because a true Christian doesn't get involved in that stuff. They don't have anything to do with that stuff. They don't go seeking books and information on that type of stuff. So they don't open themselves up to be invited to evil, because Christians don't go looking for that. If you are a Christian looking for that, then you're not a Christian, right? That's what you are in name, not in deed and in truth, right? Truth, heart, right? That truth is not within you, right? You is a whole liar, right? You follow the devil. If you seek out voodooism, if you seek it out for absolutely no reason, because it's interesting to you, well, right. And that's how you open yourself up and lead yourself into other situations, and you get caught up calling yourself a mambo at some point. So God says stick with this book, right? His other country, and this is for people in America, he said his other countries understand. For those who weren't brought up with the Quran and all of that, then this is your book, your starting point. If you were not brought up with the Quran and the in the Torah, right? Then guess what? This is your starting point. Then you move into the Quran and the Torah, right? You don't just jump into other books, because there are no other books. This is it. So America and England, you know, places like UK, yeah, the UK and stuff, where this is us, right? This is us. Italy, Scots, right? This is us, right? But straight Bible. Christianity is where it's at, right? Right. And then the Hindus, and they have a different understanding, because God also has to have people to what? Sage and calm his earth, right? So they understand this. This is theirs too, right? But no, I'm not going to say this. I'm going to say this, but they also understand the Quran, right? They also understand the Quran. They're right there. Why wouldn't they? They also understand the Quran. And who else follows the Quran? Right. Africans, right? Africans follow the Quran. They follow this in the Quran. So they have both, right? They had the Quran without this, but they had to come back and understand this, because the Quran was taking them over to a whole nother voodoo level, right? Because they were allowing themselves to follow that sun, moon, God stuff, and that's not what God created us for. when you read back on Africans in the Bible, they were converted to Christianity, right? Somehow Africans were taken out of Christianity and put into Islam. After Islam came, it got distorted, and that voodoo, they started picking up that jinn stuff and creating voodoo, right? And this is not anything that will be in your history books, right? Because this dates well back when they were still writing on papyruses, right? So, the spiritual insight. So, ultimately, they had to get back to this, the Africans. So now they're Africans, right? Because they have both, and they are both leveling the Africans out, right? That's why God changed their name from Africans to Africans. When they were Africans, they were oppressed. They're Africans, they are no longer oppressed. And these are the ones who are chosen, set aside, and still in Afrique, right? The same way he changed Hebrews to Israelites, right? The same way he changed the Hebrews to Israelites, right? Hebrews to Israel, right? And moved them to where? Ultimately, Jerusalem, right? So, right, they are Africans. They are no longer Africans, right? For the ones who are in Afrique, right? It doesn't matter whether you try to keep them with the oppressor name. That is not their name any longer, right? Right. This is what I'm talking about when we have a conversation about oppression. People really need to understand what oppression really means, right? These people refuse to call you the right name. When people refuse to call me the right name, I refuse to be around them. My name is Davinia. If I work with you and you cannot get my name right within 3 weeks, we have an issue because you're not trying to. That tells me the relationship you want with me should be very, very superficial. Because my name's Davinia and you call me Davina, Davinia, excuse me, you're disrespecting me, you're oppressing me, because my name is Davinia, and it's not hard to say, right? You can say Virginia, you can say Gardenia, why can't you say Davinia, right? Because you choose not to, so you're oppressing me with your, right, right, with your privilege, right? So you think, because at the end of the day, when people think they're privileged and being funny because of their skin color, no, God has the last laugh. God has the last laugh. Yes, he does. Right. So I never worry about anybody trying to oppress me, right, or my people, right? I just have to remind myself from time to time to stop allowing yourself to even pay these people any attention. Right, right. So oppression is very subtle, even by someone disrespecting your name and not saying it properly, calling you what they want to call you versus what you tell them to call you, right? And that does not go for people who play the I'm this today and I'm that tomorrow game, right? I'm talking to people who stay one thing. I'm talking to people who, right, understand what it means to tell people over and over that is totally incorrect. This is what it is, and they still want to be incorrect. Well, they are trying to oppress you. They are trying to oppress your knowledge. They are trying to put you in chains. Ultimately, oppression leads to chains, right? When you are oppressed, you give up, and then they come and lock you right up, right? When people are fighting the police, eventually they get tired and they get the handcuffs on you, right? Right. Oppression to chains, right? Oppression to chains, and it's very subtle. Right, just by your name, right? So then you start saying, well, call me by my nickname, right? I'm in a professional setting. You will call me by my name, right? Not my nickname, right? Because now you're trying to treat me like a child, right? Oh, just call me by my nickname, right? See how subtle oppression is, right? Trying to put me in chains, right? Right. You're disrespecting a grown woman by not saying Davinia correctly. So now I say, well, call me D. So now you're calling me D, right? Making me feel more familial than professional. And so now you start treating me like a child, right? Right. So, Oppression is very subtle. And it starts with your name. Right. So I'm going to go to 14. Ephesians 4 and 14. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of man, and cunning craftiness, wherefore they lie in wait to deceive. And that was just what I was talking about, how oppression is as subtle as someone not wanting to say your name right, and wanting to call you by a nickname, right? Wanting to label you how they want to label you, wanting to dumb you down into a personal, childlike position versus a professional that you are. So when you demand someone to call you by your entire first name, but they want to take it to a nickname, well, then make them call you by your last name. Correct. You will respect. Right. But speaking the truth in love may grow up into him in all things, which is the head, even Christ, from whom the whole body fitly joined together and compacted, by which every joint supplieth, according to the effectual working in the measure of every part, maketh increase of the body unto the edifying of itself in love. So, and I did have people call me by my nickname, and that was only because, you know, right, some people truly just, I'm like, you just can't get it right, whatever, right. And I was just, you know, like, call me by my nickname, boom, right. But I always demanded even more respect because of what, right? You refuse to call my name correctly, right? So, edifying yourself in love, right? Edify yourself in love. You teach yourself the proper way to love yourself and get respect for yourself and respect yourself too, right? Do not demand respect when you disrespect yourself, right? So, respect yourself. Others shall respect you, and if they don't, stay from around them and make sure you are able to respect the people you're around as well. Because if you can't respect the people you're around, do not be disrespectful to them. Just get from around them, because that lowers your character. That makes your character look like crap when you have to disrespect the people that you're around. That's why I always say stay away from me, because I really get totally disrespectful. And then people start checking my character like, well, dang. No, I just know how to, right. Some people, right, do not, right. So I just said, you know what? Some people are used to being talked to like trash, and they love that pimp talk. They love that ignorant talk. They love to be talked to like they garbage on the street, like they crap on a piece of tissue. I don't like talking to people like that. I don't believe in talking to people like that. So let me just stay from around them, because at the end of the day, I'm a professional, right? And I have to check my talk and my walk, right? I got to check my talk and my walk and put my stilettos back on and come up out them Timbs, right? I had to come up out them Timbs and throw on my stilettos, put my stilettos back on, right? Because it was ridiculous out here in them streets, right? And trust me, I had on the, right, I had the Timbs, right? Had the Timbs, right? And now I'm back in my stilettos, right? Because what do you look like arguing and fighting with people? You don't even know. Thank you. I ain't even smelt your air. You ain't smelt mine. What we arguing for? Right. We ain't been in the same room together. What in the world? Right. Nope. So with that being stated, this was Ephesians 4, 1 through 16. And this is how you deal with witches. You don't. You just walk away from them, right? You stay away from them totally. Right. Keep yourself... not even worrying about dark arts. Don't worry about the dark arts. Don't worry about nothing that got to do with witches and warlocks and voodoo. Don't entertain people that talk to you about all this stars, moon, and stay away from anything that sound like it is against the true God and Jesus. If it's against Jesus, then you know to stay away from it. Because some people love God and hate Jesus. So what you do is you stay away from anyone that has a problem with Jesus, right? Right. And that'll cover it. God says stay away from anybody who has a problem with Jesus. Yeah, they talk about Yahweh and Yeshua and whoever else. Like he said, if they did not say, I have accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and can't show you a baptism certificate, when people make them up, don't worry about them, right? Do not be around this person, and your soul will tell you. You can tell God, look, God, I don't want to be around nobody who's not right anymore. If they evil, I don't want to be around no more. So let me know. Give me an alert, or just keep the person away from me altogether. Right. Just tell God, you know, anybody that's evil, keep them away from me altogether, and they'll start falling off, right? Because if you start asking for alerts, oh, you're going to feel everything evil. Don't do it, right? You make yourself sick. what you do is say, God, keep everything away from me that's evil. I don't want to be around nothing evil any longer. And you guys have a great afternoon. Bye.